What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unhinged Talk. Very special episode today. It is the 2020 Yankees season preview. Now, tomorrow's opening day. We're filming this on Wednesday night. Hopefully, first game of the season is played on Thursday night. Due to weather, not sure if that's going to happen, but we're still going to talk about the season anyway, break everything down with the whole crew tonight. Jalen Robinson, Brian DeGennaro, Paris Givazina-Fontos, Brendan Kramer, and as usual, I'm your host, Patrick Hennessy. Let's get right into things here. First off, let me start off by saying that 2020, it's the season. Like, it was supposed to be the season before Corona. Now it's only a 60-game season, obviously. But the Yankees still have super high expectations. Hopefully that they could be fully healthy all season. They can do damage. Let's look at their schedule to kind of start off things here. So basically, they're only going to be playing the American League East and the National League East. So they're going to be playing a few series against the Red Sox, Blue Jays, Marlins, Phillies, Orioles, Rays, Mets, Nationals. I'm forgetting a team. The Braves?
Yeah.
That's the last team, right?
Did you mention the Blue Jays?
I think I did.
The homeless Blue Jays?
Regardless, AL East, NL East. Personally, I'll start off by giving my input on that kind of whole schedule. I think that it's awesome. I don't think that the Yankees could have had a better turnout when it comes to scheduling. I think that most of these teams should be a breeze walk, especially because the NL East is very mediocre. I can't say that there's any team in that division that really scares me. What do you guys think about it?
I mean, the NL East just got even easier because Marcus Stroman has a tear in his calf muscle, so he's down and out for a while. So now they're stuck with DeGrom, Porcello, and Michael Wacha.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the only team out of all of them, of course, got to always look at the Rays, but with Meadows being out for a bit. Then, of course, you have the Braves, but they have no pitching. But honestly, a team that we can't take lightly, the Blue Jays can be dangerous in a 60-game season, especially if Nate pitching. Pearson. They got – I mean, not saying Nate Pearson is their savior, but that lineup is still –
It's scary.
But honestly, who knows if they're going to be the same because they right now don't have a home. Yeah. And if they even play in Buffalo, that's going to get interesting because –
They can't play in Buffalo because there's a tweet before earlier this morning that said the light restriction at night, it doesn't suit an MLB game. Oh. So those two options in Buffalo and
what does that even mean though? What?
What? Wait, I'm confused. What do you mean the light isn't suitable for an MLB game, but it's suitable for a minor league game?
No.
Is it like different
they probably
wattage?
They probably don't play night games. You know?
No, they have to.
Like the lights are not strong enough for. The lights are not strong enough for a game at night.
Oh, that's what you were saying? I thought you meant that there was like an issue with like a town ordinance or something that they're not allowed to.
No, I'll find that tweet for you.
After a certain amount, town ordinance. That's what it sounded like. I don't know.
But that doesn't make sense. Like in Brooklyn, you have the Brooklyn Cyclones. It's I guess 2-story field.
Nice field. I've played on it.
There's barely any. It's ridiculous. Like it's very dim. So they're allowed to play in that, but
maybe they're not allowed to play major league games in that stadium.
I feel like they've played in the summer.
Suppress minor leaguers, I guess.
Regardless,
they don't care about minor leaguers. I'm just saying.
Regardless of where the Blue Jays play, I still think that the Yankees can.
This is very important, Pat. Okay.
Because honestly, we have no idea where the Blue Jays play, and in my opinion, no matter where they play, we'll spank them anyway.
So it's going to be a disadvantage no matter what because they're not going to be at home.
Yeah, so it's tough on them. They're going to have a grueling schedule this year.
They might actually be road warriors, I heard. There's like an option. There's a thing that they might have to travel to every single team they play.
That would be really tough.
But I think, but even like this year, it would probably be a lot. Obviously, something like this wouldn't happen in a regular year, but this is probably the year that home field advantage matters a lot less. So, like, if they have to play their home games in Yankee Stadium, like, it's not going to be a huge deal to them. Like, it'll just be, like, being comfortable with the dimensions and stuff like that. But I don't think it's going to be a huge factor into, like, how good they are or how well they perform. But I do think it might have, like, some kind of mental effect on their –
Well, I think the travel is going to be the biggest issue.
Yeah.
You know, if they have to travel for every series, that's going to be insane.
That'll suck.
Yeah. But going, like, out of their schedule now, deep into the Yankees roster. So obviously this year we're going to see a ton of players going up and down since there is a 60-man roster, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but a 30-man active roster.
Yeah, and it's as
Yeah.
the season goes on, it's going to drop from go to 28, and then I believe 26.
Got you. Well, I mean, the Yankees lineup it's pretty similar to last year if we look at it. As long as they're healthy, that's the key of the entire season. If the Yankees stay healthy, things will go right. But yeah, let's kind of go around the horn position by position. Catcher Gary Sanchez, first base. I'm assuming it's going to be Luke Voit. Maybe they'll platoon Ford sometimes. Second base got DJ. Then we got Glaber at short. Gio likely at third. I doubt Andujar will see much time there.
Did Ford make the opening day roster? Or
100%. I truly I
would
don't think
assume
they
so.
I don't think they would not put him on the.
Sweeney Murdy was already talking about it, like potentially him starting on opening day. I don't think he would have gone that far to say something like that if he didn't think he was going to be on the opening day roster.
Yeah, I think he's a lock for the roster.
If he starts opening day, but I definitely think he's going to be on there as a bench option.
Yeah,
honestly, if you don't put him at first, it would be a great DH option. Bat him like 6 or 7.
Yeah, but I mean, the outfield is even more stacked when you look at it. Like, unfortunately, I'm sure Brett Gardner is going to be the starting left fielder, which sucks. But then you got Hicks in center, you got Judge and right, and then off the bench you got Talkman, Frazier. Do we think Frazier's going to be on the opening day roster?
Yeah.
I think he has to, right?
I would think so.
Probably.
He honestly, he's really impressed me. He's really impressed me, especially with the
awesome.
way. It's as you said, I think in the podcast before, him and Domingo Herman kind of switched personality.
It's
He's
true.
handled
Brian
everything.
really got that one.
He was on the third hour today and he was actually talking about he had like one of the best interviews I've ever seen him have. He was like relaxed. He was well presented. He was talking about the whole mask thing and he was like, doesn't really bother me. I'm just here to play the game. That's all.
It's a completely different Clint Frazier.
Yeah,
honestly, I don't think I don't know why, but I get the feeling that he's not going to start on this 30-man roster. I just feel like they are going to value the versatile guys a lot more. Guys like Thairo Estrada, guys like Tyler Wade.
I love Thairo Estrada.
I think they're going to even look at a guy like Andujar, who although his glove is not even up to par at any position that he plays, you can throw him out there in left field and you can throw him at first base or third base and just say like, well, his bat will, pick up for whatever. So I think they value those guys a lot more. And when you factor in the fact that they have to have a backup catcher on the roster, they have to have a backup shortstop and someone who can play the outfield, I can see them going with a 4-man bench with Higashioka, Tyler Wade, Estrada, and Mike Ford, or some variation of those guys.
I think Iannetta made it because I think they added him. Let me double check.
Give me Iannetta over Higashioka any day. Higashioka is garbage.
Yeah, anybody over Higashioka, honestly.
He's had 3 years to prove himself.
Right, yeah, they signed Iannetta, Hale, and Luis Avalon to major league contracts and selected them for the 40-man roster.
Yankee legend David Hale.
If David Hale is pitching in any significant game, I give up on life. Like, when I see David Hale, I know we're down by 10. Like,
he should have mop-up duties, honestly.
Yeah, no, I think that's what he has to be there for. I mean, but in that case, just bring back Nestor Cortez Jr. because I did not mind him in mop-up duties.
If you look at the bullpen right now, who do you think gets the closing role? Britton?
Exactly. I think it has to be Britton.
Hands down, Britton.
Yeah. That's an awful question. Like, see yourself out.
There's one thing.
You're in timeout.
5-minute pause video.
Boone said like it's gonna be Britton. Like he was like, I think Britton can hold it down for a couple
and
hours.
Yeah.
There's one thing out of like the player pool that we have. There's one guy that he did get reassigned, but Brooks Kriske. I think he pitched either 1 or 2 games. Looked really good. Like upper 90s fastball, good breaking stuff. He looked really good out of everyone. They didn't select Schmidt to the bring him up because also he's not on the 40-man yet, so they're not going to add him until they really need to. But I think you can see late in the season Brooks Kriske getting something because just from what you look, he's got an electric arm. The control for the most part was there. He's a guy that you got to keep an eye on.
Yeah, no, I agree. But also, the rotation doesn't look too bad either, even though they're going to be missing Sevy. and Tanaka's not going to pitch until the 31st, I believe they said his scheduled day is supposed to be. But that's still great considering he really dodged a bullet in all sense of the word. But
Attempted murder.
Garrett Cole is going to be starting opening day. Paxton, I'm assuming, is going to pitch the second game. Then I think they're going with the opener for the third game.
They're going to bullpen.
And then, so I'm assuming that Green's going to start out, and then King is going to come in most likely.
That's my guess.
Then you got Hap, and then Monty will be back up by then,
Monty,
which I think is a solid rotation.
You don't know Jalen loves bullpen days.
Well, they're not even – it just doesn't make sense to me for this specific scenario because you have enough starters. And if giving a guy like King, King a couple weeks ago talked about how he'd rather be a starter than a reliever because like when you're gonna have to be prepared, and when you're a reliever, you kind of have to just guess and be prepared all the time, and you're not really sure when you're gonna be used. And there's a lot more consistency. And like when you hear a guy say that, and you're still like, well, it sucks. Like we're gonna just start Chad Green and waste him for an inning, and then like hope that everyone else performs perfectly. It's just kind of like it doesn't make sense. And then if they're trying to preserve Tanaka's spot, why are we worried about Monty now sliding into number 2? Like that doesn't make any sense to me at all either. Like why not just give Cole the extra day and move Monty to either the 4 or the 5? And even if you don't want to start King, like I don't know, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me.
I don't know how it all works out because I do know at one point after, let's say we play tomorrow, or technically today, and we get that day off on Friday. Then it's 16 or 17 games in 16 days.
It's a lot.
So if you can have one day, have maybe a 6-man rotation for one of the weeks to give those guys – because I don't remember the last time we had 17 games in 17 days.
But that's not even like a 6-man rotation. It's just like you're wasting your bullpen for one of the days.
But Jalen, I'm going to be honest with you. Like the Yankees, after testing out the opener last year, they did awesome with it.
They did.
I was really skeptical last year, like heading into the season, how they were going to handle the whole opener thing. I was not a big fan of it either. But I think they only lost 2 or 3 games maybe when they used the opener.
He was 11-4 as a starter.
Yeah, so I mean, it was solid. Like I'm not really like for these like new school ways either, but the opener thing, it kind of proved me wrong. And the Yankees, after seeing the success it gave them last year, they're definitely going to keep that heading into – they're just going to ride the wave until it crashes. That's basically – I don't think they'll use that in a playoff game, but to carry them through the season, they'll definitely do that.
You also got to remember the second guy coming in is going to be better than Nestor Cortez. No offense to Nestor Cortez, but
he
for
won't
sure.
have to submarine the ball.
I just think if you have – I guess maybe it's like an old way of thinking, and like I get that it worked last year, but it's like this year's just so different. Like I don't like the fact that we're experimenting in a 60-game season. Like we don't know what Michael King is going to bring. Like bring him into a situation that he's a starter. Like he's never been like a long man.
Yeah, it's definitely different for him.
It's a fair point.
It's a different like situation, and I just feel like a lot of those games that they won when they used an opener weren't because like the opening strategy worked. That offense was just ridiculous. Like you can be in the bullpen game and give up 6 runs, and then the Yankees will score 10, and it'll say a win as an opening game, but it wasn't because of that. So I don't know. I don't like it. And you have extra innings and all that stuff.
It really just depends on preference. But like at the end of the day, like that's why things like this I don't get myself worked up over, because the Yankees are gonna do what the stat nerds say regardless. So it's like no matter what us fans say, it's like they're just gonna follow the analytics and they're gonna do what the stats tell them to.
I also assume that the Nationals are gonna roll out. Or we all know it's Scherzer game 1, but I assume Strasburg's 2 and Corbin's 3.
Yeah,
so
you can only assume that. It's going to be a tough opening weekend, but regardless, that kind of takes me into like my next topic I want to discuss here, where we see the Yankees ending the season. Obviously, they're going to have bumps in the road like they do all the time. The only thing that does scare me heading into the season is that every season the Yankees always start off slow. But it always doesn't hurt them in the end because they pick it up because it's such a long season. This year, I don't know if they can start slow.
No, they can't.
Because last year, Tampa killed it to start the season. If Tampa kills it to start the season again this year and the Yankees are slow, it could be the death of them because you only have 60 games. But regardless, if we're taking my opinion into account here, which should matter a lot, I think that the Yankees are still going to finish in first place this season. If we're going deep into a playoff run here, like I say this every season they let me down. I think that this would be the year the Yankees win the World Series because it's a typical Yankee year to win the World Series. Now, everyone hates when the Yankees win the World Series regardless, but they would hate it even more this year and say, oh,
It's
it
a
doesn't
60-game
count.
season.
60-game season. So I've been dying to see the Yankees World Series win this whole time. So knowing just how this year is going so far, Yankees are easily going to win. Or seeing how the year is going so far, they'll make it to Game 7 and lose on a walk-off to the Mets. Either way, we'll see what happens.
Honestly,
what do you guys think?
What
Oh
I've
my
seen is
God.
usually at spring training you can tell. Like last year, the hitters were kind of doing well, but they don't really. It wasn't like I would say the last 3 exhibition games. It seems like everyone is firing. Judge is pulling home runs. Stanton's
Oh my
hitting bombs.
God. Judge is a
Gary is
monster.
finally catching up to those fastballs again. I remember last year,
Yeah.
Gary would be just missing those high fastballs. But also, even when he's not, let's say his at-bat ends in an out, there are some times where he is just missing fastballs. I mean, Glaber looked great. Tautman was using the entire field. Honestly, they look like right now they can just throw them into the fire and they'll be ready.
I agree.
I also
Honestly-
think it's different than like the slow starts that they've had in the past. Like a lot, I feel like the weather plays into it a lot. Like the beginning of the season in late July is a lot different than the beginning of the season in late March.
Yeah.
And I think
Very
that
true.
baseball is it's naturally easier to play baseball in hot weather.
In
So
2018, it was snowing.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
this year is very different. And I think the guys know, like when you go into a 162 game season, you kind of have this mentality like extended spring training is the first month is extended spring training. Like if I get off to a slow start, it's fine. Like I can just get going in May or whatever or June, and then now guys know like right away I have to be on top of it, and there's added pressure when you have a guy like Garrett Cole added to your payroll, and Judge is out to seek vengeance for kind of falling off and not falling off, but like being injured the past couple years.
Yeah.
And I just think they all have something to prove. So I'm not as worried about the slow start this year.
Honestly, I could see this team going 45, 15, and 60 games. I don't care what Brian.
I see
I don't
at least
care.
40 wins.
Brian
So,
sees 20
I
wins,
think that's
honestly.
a lot, but I didn't say 20
Honestly,
wins.
with
I
a
think
healthy
40
team-
is
Definitely
a lot.
possible.
Like, we don't know if we'll have DJ LeMahieu to start off the season, but regardless, the Yankees
No, they'll
so
have
much-
him.
For the
They
over?
don't know if he's had enough live at bats today being
No.
rained out hurt, but
No,
I have a
listen,
feeling he's
listen.
gonna play.
No,
He's gonna
no.
play.
Shut the fuck up, okay? DJ LeMahieu is healthy. You're telling me if DJ LeMahieu does not have corona, I don't care
Yes,
if he
Tyler
got
Wade's
3.
playing.
There's no chance in hell that DJ LeMahieu, just because he doesn't have an at bats, he's not gonna. No, he's playing opening day. Tyler
He's gonna
Wade is not
text
playing
Boone.
opening day.
He's
So
gonna
let's
text Boone.
Not
and say,
start
"Let
because
me
that's
play."
not a conversation I want to talk.
If he
Brett
didn't
Gardner,
play
Tyler Wade.
games, I would have been worried about him playing opening day, but he
Same.
played in 2 out of 3 exhibition games. And the last exhibition game, he played all 9 innings. I know he didn't play in the field the whole game, but he played he
You
had
got
at-bats
me
the rest of the
heated.
game.
I was saying he's
Para,
gonna
see
text
your way
Boone.
out. Para,
Literally.
see your. Now you drew the line, Para.
What did I
He's
do?
not
I'm just
wrong.
going.
You-
I'm just
You
going
said we
based
don't
on what
freaking
I'm
have
seeing.
DJ.
Because
They
that's what
they
they
haven't
tweeted
said
earlier
it.
this morning.
They might not. But that
No,
doesn't-
DJ's playing.
Well, no. What happened with the first exhibition game is he texted Boone and said, "I'm playing in this exhibition game." We weren't expecting him to play. I have a very good feeling that come opening day, whether it's today or tomorrow, he's gonna be like, "You're putting me in this fucking lineup,
Thank
whether you
you.
like it or not."
Why would you not though? If he's able to play,
Bro,
5
There's
innings-
nothing wrong with him.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but Para's right. That is what they said. They have said that.
I'm
they're
going
not
based
sure
off
if
what
they're
But
gonna
they've
play or not.
said a lot of things. They said Estevan Florial was the next Babe Ruth. Like,
honestly,
heard a lot of
regardless of
things.
whether the season starts tomorrow, Friday, or Saturday, DJ LeMahieu is going to lead off for the Yankees lineup.
thank you. All right,
Yes,
Para,
we.
you're-
Regardless what I've read before, I know that
Preach.
LeMahieu's going to be in the lineup. Because if you look at the lineup,
Love
the
it.
Yankees – reason why I'm saying the Yankees are going to go 45 and 15. If you go down that lineup, you have LeMahieu, Torres, Judge, Stanton, Sanchez, Voit. Who else am I missing?
Gio Urshela,
Urshela, Brett Gardner.
Tony Womack.
Tony Womack,
No, but
John
honestly,
Ford Griffin.
If this
Yankee
team can
captain
stay
Brett
healthy,
Gardner.
if this team can actually stay healthy for once, which they haven't in the last 2 years, they can purely dominate the entire NL East and AL East, lead their way into the playoffs, and hopefully get past the game 6 or 7 of the ALCS. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah.
The last 2 years have been absolutely heartbreak between actually the last 3 years. You got 2017, 2018, 2019. 2020 is the New York Yankees year, regardless if there's an asterisk right next to it for
There's
number
no
28.
asterisk.
I don't care what
if
people
the Astros don't have an asterisk, the Yankees will not have
like.
an
Honestly,
asterisk.
I don't care. Like somebody brought it up yesterday. They don't know if it counts. They don't know how to feel about it. But honestly, if they win it, they win it.
I don't care how
And
they
I'll be
feel about
happy.
it.
I'll take a 60-game World Series championship over anything.
And also,
Hey, the playoffs are the same.
Wait,
The playoffs are the
wait.
same.
This is a very important argument I need to make right now. This
Oh, here we
message
go.
goes out to the New
Strap
York
in,
City
folks.
mayor, Bill de Blasio. Okay. If the Yankees win the World Series this year, I know you're a Red Sox fan, my guy.
He's a fuck.
I do not care about COVID. The Yankees are having a parade in Manhattan if they win the World Series, and I will be there. If you don't let the Yankees have a parade, I'm having my own parade in Manhattan.
Just around your.
You to stop a parade, like I'm telling you, as someone who organized the protest in New York City, there's nothing he can do. Like
There's
obviously,
nothing he could do.
the Yankees might not.
Jalen's
have their-
organizing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
So between me and Jalen, Mr. Bill, you're not stopping shit, okay? But
But isn't MLB talking about actually having fans in their stadiums?
yeah,
I mean-
I think it's a great all right, now you got me off on a tangent here. Because I've been saying for so long, like malls are open. Everything like things where people are gathering are open. Six Flags is open. So why can MLB stadiums not be open at 25% capacity? One, it's outdoors, okay? There's not close contact with people. You're sitting down. You're not touching anything besides a seat. Two, you don't have to open concession stands. You could still take those stadium workers and bring them to the stadium as workers to help sanitize once the games end. Now, you would only be having a couple thousand people in the stadium per game. I don't see the issue, especially when the world is opening up. So obviously, if there's areas where infection rates are still extremely high, I wouldn't do that. But in New York City, for example, I went to the mall today. There was a bunch of people there, and that's an indoor setting. Now, that's so much more close contact than sitting 6 feet apart somebody at a baseball game.
I think it depends where it is. Like if I'm going back to Miami for school, if they opened up Marlins Stadium, I wouldn't dare go anywhere near it.
Yeah.
It's just a mess.
Yeah,
Right?
it definitely depends on location.
I mean, I think it should just be allowed to be like a state by state thing. So like if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, like I genuinely don't believe that some states deserve to have sports in their state right now. Like they're handling things so poorly. And like, I don't want to throw it over. Like I was saying before, like to my family and friends or whatever, like America as a whole, like the way we've handled this whole COVID thing, like we don't deserve to have sports. And in some ways I do still believe that, but I do think it's more of like a state to state thing. Like the way New York has handled it like has been so exemplary, and like, I guess New York, New Jersey and whatever, but like, I would feel comfortable right now going to a Yankee game spaced out, like socially distanced, you know, people are sanitizing, and like, I mean, it's like I've been to Prospect Park since this whole thing, and like, it's kind of similar to that. Like you're outdoors, you're not near anyone.
You're probably in more close quarters at Prospect Park than you would be at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah,
It's
the
a
best thing about the
massive
Yankee
stadium.
And the best thing about Yankee Stadium, even if you don't have the concession stands, you let fans bring in their own food.
Yeah,
So does it
that's
really make a difference?
exactly my thing.
Like
you would
I
have
get
bathrooms
why,
open, but still.
Like I understand the whole dilemma because of the other states with the breakouts, especially with Florida, Texas. Even California's been on lockdown for the last 4 months.
Yeah.
They don't even know what's going on over there. So
Yeah, I do think, though, as I've
It's a
said,
tough-
I can truly see the Yankees potentially letting fans in late August, early September. Yeah, you'll probably have to sign like something, but as long as
anything.
yeah, honestly, as long as I'll sit in the fucking back of the fucking bleachers or the top of the fucking in the upper deck. If I gotta wear a mask, I'll wear a mask. I just want to be at the stadium and cheer on the team. I don't care what I have to do.
Damn, okay. I'll get COVID if I have to.
Yeah.
and
Honestly,
for you,
give me
for all of you
COVID
that
or
are
give
not,
me death.
For all
if
of
he
you that are
brings a
not
World
aware,
Series championship, fuck yeah.
Brandon Kramer has season tickets. Let's just
Oh,
get that.
yeah.
Let's
No,
just get that
no
out of
one
the
Joe,
way.
forget.
if those actually
Brandon has
happen,
season
Para,
tickets.
I'll take you first.
All
I
right.
just got fired.
You know what? Let's just move on from that at this point. Let's talk on the last talking point I have here, and that's I want to hear some of your overall predictions for this season. You guys kind of heard mine. I do think the Yankees are going to win the World Series. Say that every year. I'm optimistic. I know Brian's pessimistic. He thinks the Yankees aren't even going to make it to the playoffs, but I think they're going to win the AL East. And I think now, like, I might be stretching it. I might be manic right now. But I do think that Garrett Cole can win Cy Young, and I do think that Aaron Judge can win MVP. Now,
have a bold
obviously, this
MVP
is just like
Bold.
crazy-ass Yankee fan
Bold.
thinking here.
I got a bolder. I got a
I
bolder
think that
one.
Aaron-
Crazy.
If I had to pick which prediction I stand with more, though, I think Aaron Judge is going to win MVP. This man is out for blood this season. That's all I have to say.
My prediction, it's bold.
Oh, God. The
Well,
Minnesota Twins are going to win it all.
No. I mean 2020 is crazy, but it's not that crazy. Well, first of all, this is maybe not that bold. Stanton's going to hit over 20 home runs. Gary Sanchez is going to win AL MVP.
Yeah, Brendan's been saying that for a while now.
I don't see Gary winning MVP.
I'm going to say
The only way that I could see it happening,
Gary can get hot.
he gets
I know.
so hot sometimes, and if he goes on a
2016
stretch,
Gary. If we
Yeah.
get 2016
Does that.
Gary.
It would be hard for anyone to top 2016 Gary. That stretch, he does
Yeah.
that over a span of 60 games. He could end up with like 25 home runs and 50.
or 2017 August Gary for the entire year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
also,
just-
like, before we discredit anything heading into the season, let's not forget it's 2020. Anything can happen in 2020.
Greg Gardner MVP.
It's
Miami Marlins
I'm not even
World
there.
Series champs.
I'm not gonna discredit it. Para, what are your predictions heading into the season?
Honestly, Judge could win MVP.
Thank
Those are going to be my two overperformers for the Yankees.
Stanton's
It's going to be
dark horse.
Stanton and Judge regardless. If those two can stay healthy and just watch their pitches all the time, like remember Stanton last year in the playoffs, he didn't get any big hits, but his approach at the plate was the best. If he had that approach during every at bat during these 60 games, him and Judge for maybe 60 home runs. That's my
I agree.
that's my
What do you think
opinion.
happens to the trade deadline, though? We still got a trade deadline.
Nothing.
Who do you think gets dealt? If there's the Yankees were going to make a trade for a starter?
My left nut for Francisco Lindor. I hope that helps.
Everyone be optimistic for once. Like
Honestly,
I'm
does it
trying.
hurt
I'm
anybody
trying.
to be positive?
Speaking of Tyler Clippard, he's pitching right now.
All right,
he's
so
on
how
the
many
Twins.
wins do you think? How many wins do you think the Yankees will have this year?
I think they're going to get
Over
I
40
think,
for sure.
I think
Over
I
40?
think at least more than 38. But I can see them going 42 and 18.
I could see them. I think they could easily get over 40. Don't forget, the schedule is really light.
Have you seen the
not
last
that
month?
That's
difficult.
very true.
Yeah,
I know
so-
Jalen mentioned which other team
16
besides
now.
the Yankees going to be an underperformer, but if you were to guess a team that's going to overperform and underperform, what are your predictions?
I got the Astros underperforming this year, especially. I don't know why, but I just feel like
Bold.
this whole thing, like the Astros have always gone in with like some kind of chip on their shoulder for some reason. Like, oh, people doubt us. Though they can't do that anymore this
They
year.
got a target on their back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a different target. Like it's not like the Yankees target where it's like we're the most hated franchise because we're good or we have a lot of money. We're hated because we're actual assholes and we cheated, and everyone hates us. Like there's no, and I think that they lost. I think they lost their best pitcher. Like you can make an argument for Verlander being their best, but
Oh, no, I wouldn't say
Garrett
Verlander's their
Cole
best guy anymore.
he
Yeah.
was like the Terminator for most of last season and getting better. And then Verlander kind of showed a little bit of signs of aging and regressing, especially in the postseason. And I mean, he's obviously still really good, and he's probably gonna have a pretty good year. But you have him, and then Greinke is just sometimes you don't know with that guy, like what is going to happen, especially with no fans in the stands. Like that could either be really good for him, or he could lose his mind. And I'm not even trying to make fun of him. It's just like you never know. And beyond that, like Lance McCullers is coming off an injury. You don't know what you're going to get from him. And then their offense is just like, do we know if they are going to produce at the same level without cheating? Like, do we know that they weren't cheating last year or in 2018 to know that, like, obviously they're talented, but I don't see them having – and playing in Houston, like, they have their home field advantage is huge. Like, that's a big loss for them, especially, like, in a situation where everyone hates them. They're always going to be up against it. Like, they don't have the fans to back them in their own stadium. So, like, I just think they're going to underperform. I think the A's are going to win the AL West.
Wow.
I think the Astros will make the wild card, and they're going to lose either to the Rays or the Indians or something like that. I just don't see them going anywhere this year.
I actually just thought of something. It's actually an actual bold prediction.
No,
because of how short the season is, I think a reliever / closer is going to win MVP. Because you can still rack up. Hey,
I don't think so.
MVP?
MVP. I can see
no, wait,
Cy Young.
my bad. Not MVP. Not
Okay.
MVP. Yeah, that was
I
my bad.
was
Cy Young.
about to say.
Cy Young, my
I
bad.
could see that. That's reasonable.
No, I can
especially
definitely see a reliever.
Cy Young's much more reasonable than
Like,
MVP.
I mean, I think actually, shout out to Jack. He did make one good point. I think he said something about Chapman winning Cy Young. And when you look into it, you can rack up a decent amount of saves in a 60-game season.
Chapman's also going to miss the first week or two.
I've learned, I've found stuff out. Like, DJ had 13 COVID tests. And no matter if you get like a negative one, and it's like it's two different tests. You have the nasal swab and then the other one. The nasal swab could be negative, but if the other one's positive, you need to get 2 negatives to come back. So he could keep getting tested. So we don't know when he'll be back.
I think we'll be fine without Chapman, though. I'm not.
Be
really,
optimistic.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well,
No,
pitching depth is ridiculous, and like
The guy keeps
Britton is
grinding
great.
every day. He keeps
Yeah.
working out like it's nothing.
That's how you beat COVID. You just work out like that.
I mean,
I have
regardless, though, I mean, I think that no matter how we look at the season, I still think, unless you're most negative person in the world, Brian, I think
look,
that
I'm
the
just
Yankees,
hesitant to crown them champions already.
I get it. I get it.
There's so many things that can go wrong in
I
a short
get it.
season
I get
that
it. But I still think,
I can't say it. But they are on paper. The Yankees, I think, are the best team in the league.
yes.
Especially with
and
what the Dodgers are missing this year with David Price and everything. I do think the Yankees are the best team in the league.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
just-
it would just
I'm
be
so-
irresponsible to say that the Yankees aren't good heading into the season. But
Oh, they're
regardless,
great.
I definitely think that we touched on everything I want to hit on today heading into the season. I'm very excited heading into the season. This is our first season where we are doing full media content. If you do want to call it a season, it's a season. But I'm
season
very
counts.
excited. We're going to be with you guys every step of the way. Stay tuned for more content.
Before we go, one
Oh,
last
God.
prediction I'm gonna have.
Oh,
is
God.
with the NL East, I have
You
the
wanna
Phillies
redeem
winning
yourself?
it, and the AL East, the Yankees are gonna win it.
You think the
Para,
Phillies-
I'm
Phillies?
so glad you just threw that in there. So glad. So worth it. But regardless, we
He's
will
redeemed
see.
himself.
We will see you guys next time. Have a good night.